Hey, can we get a list of everybody that we last called last week? You know, that's a great question. And here on this specific training, we're going to talk about how to answer that. This is a video that's going to continue the advanced search training module where we dive deep into all of the features and functionality of the advanced search function in PhoneBurner. So here in our account, we're going to click on the advanced search menu. And on this specific training, we're going to be diving deep into the dial session section. Now we're breaking this training out where we're focusing on one section at a time so we can dive deep into each section. There are other trainings that talk about the other sections, so feel free to watch those. On this specific training, again, we're going to talk about dial sessions, and there's a lot packed into this, so bear with me as we go through this. So as you can see here, there are 5 different options in the dial session section. First called, last called, total calls, total call attempts, and status. And we're going to talk about each one of these to help make sure that you have a good, firm understanding of how you can take advantage of this, because this is going to come in key to help you become the most efficient PhoneBurner user possible. So the first call, this one's pretty easy. This takes into account the date of the very first phone call to a contact. And so you can click on this little menu here and you can see the options. You can search for contacts that were first called on a specific date, before a specific date, after a specific date. Like let's say we want to find everybody who was first called after January 1st of this year or some year, right? So we click apply, hit search, and it gives us a specific number of contacts that were first called after that specific date. Now let's go back to the advanced search. Go back in here and you can see we can also search by today and before, today and after. Obviously that's not going to be very helpful in a first call situation. Days ago exact. This can be helpful if you're looking for contacts that were first called on a specific date, but you also have the on option as well. Before X days ago, after X days ago, and between. Now between is going to bring up 2 little calendar options, and you're going to choose the first date. Let's say everybody was called between January 1st of this year and May 23rd of this year. We hit apply, hit search, and that's going to get us a specific list of contacts. All right, back to the advanced search, back to dial sessions. Again, first call, pretty simple. We're just looking for the first time that contact was called. Let's go ahead and reset, and let's talk about last called, because in my opinion, this one is really important. I use this one on a daily basis because I'm looking for contacts based off of when they were last called. So for example, if I called someone today, I may not want to call them again today. Or I might want to focus on contacts that were actually called today. So it just depends on what it is that I'm looking for. But the last time I called them, in my opinion, very relevant. So again, we have the same options: on, before, after, today and before, today and after, days ago exact, before X days ago. But we also have this option, has never been called, which can come in handy because you're looking for everybody that has been added to your account but has not yet been called, right? So there are a couple options in here that I do want to point out. Again, I use this on a daily basis, so there are several options in here that I care a lot about, but I want to talk to you about one in particular, and that is the before X days ago. This is one I use on a regular basis. So before X days ago, I might be looking for everybody who is called before today. In that particular case, I would be putting in a 0 here because 0 days ago is today. And so if I were to click apply here and then hit search, this will give me a list of every contact in my account that was last called before today. This comes in really handy when you're trying to build a search or create a search that's looking for contacts. In most cases, it's probably not everybody who was not called today. It might be you want to have 2 or 3 days between calls. So you might put a 3 in there, and that makes sure that there's at least 3 days between phone calls. So anyway, this is a really important one, especially as we start to dive into what we call saved searches, where you can create dynamic saved searches to help you systematically work through your data. Another option, just going back to the example that I used when we started this training, is between. Like, I want to find everybody that was called, let's say, last week. So you go ahead and choose this date to this date, hit apply, then hit search, and that'll give you everybody that was called last week. As you can see, I had a really busy day in this demo account, or a really busy week in this demo account last week. Let's go ahead and open up the advanced search again, go back to dial sessions, and so that's first call and last call. Last called, I use a ton. Now the next two options we're going to talk about together, and I use both of these fairly regularly, and they are slightly different even though they look very similar. So total calls. Total calls is the total number of times you've called somebody. So let's say, for example, you have Johnny Prospect and he has 5 phone numbers. If you call Johnny Prospect today on all 5 phone numbers, total calls is going to be 5 because you've called him a total of 5 times. Whereas total call attempts is going to be 1. So total calls is 5, total call attempts is 1, right? Because you've attempted to reach him once today. You just happen to call him on every phone number that he has, which is 5 phone numbers. And so total calls is 5, total call attempts is 1. Total call attempts is something that I use when I'm trying to build a systematic way of working through my call. So I might want to find all of my contacts that have been called less than or equal to, or I've attempted to reach less than or equal to 10 times. In fact, I need to reset this because I don't want that last call date range. Actually, let's build on this. Let's change this to before X days ago. Let's go 3. And last attempt, or total attempts, was less than or equal to 5, and hit search. So that gives me 561 contacts that haven't been called for X number of days, and they've received less than or equal to 5 calls. So as you can see here, lots of great options to help you really refine your list. So you might want to find greater than 0 and is less than a specific number, or greater than 0 and is less than or equal to a specific number. But this can really help you refine and build lists. But continuing on this, the last option in the dial session section is the status section. So as you're making calls, you're clicking dispositions and you're setting the status of that call, right? So depending on the outcome of that call, you may or may not want to call them anymore. So let's say, for example, I only want to call people where the last time I called them, it was a voicemail, I left a message, no answer, or busy signal. Everybody else, I don't want to continue to call anymore because either they're not interested or they're interested or we got an appointment. I don't want to chase those anymore. I want to chase these people. So I go ahead and add those statuses and hit search. And now you can see my list comes down just a little bit more and helps me build a nice refined list of people that I can and or should focus on. So anyway, that's a quick little overview of the dial session section in the advanced search to help you and your organization build very refined lists that you can focus on and reach out to. So thanks for taking a moment to watch this video, and happy dialing.